and welcome everyone to Valentin Consulting's YouTube channel with our guest series. And I'm so excited to be hosting this today. My name is Dr. Daisy Valentin. I'm the president and CEO of Valentin Consulting, a non traditional accounting and finance business. And today with us, we have the wonderful Isaac Contreras. He is the CEO and founder of CML Group LLC. And we want him to introduce himself a little bit more, tell us a little bit about him, and take it away.
Outstanding. Thank you, Dr. Daisy, for being able to participate in this. You and I have had, I don't know, at least a dozen conversations over the last year, maybe 18 months, and just kind of speaking at a high level about what it is that we're trying to accomplish. And so being able to jump in on this type of a platform and having this kind of a conversation with you is fantastic. And so I'm very much looking forward to it. Myself, CEO and founder of CML Group. CML, I'm in real estate. We have a real estate company. And so one of the things that CML stands for, or the thing that CML stands for, is creating more leaders. And the reason I had that is because I wanted to create an environment. I wanted to create a company that identified new and newer agents that were, hungry, humble, and smart. Hardworking, weren't afraid of the work. We're doing the work, maybe just working on the wrong thing. And so identifying them, giving them some direction, giving them some guidance, giving them a platform and turn them into superstars, powered by CML Group. And so it's kind of taken on a little bit bigger life than that, because now my biggest fan, my wife, she said, well, CML isn't creating more leaders. Isn't that more than just about real estate? And I said, yes. And so she's been able to help me get into some other different places, different rooms, and then meeting folks like you, being able to have that same conversation about creating more leaders.
That's
And so
amazing.
I've been doing this. Yeah, I've been having this for a couple years now. I'm a St. Paul guy, born and raised. I'm the guy who came home after the Navy and bought a house 3 blocks from where I grew up. And so,
Hey, most of them do that, right? Most of them that were wherever they were raised at, they usually end up coming back, which is so amazing. And I love that. I love that you served your country. And I want to say thank you for serving our country,
you're
because
welcome.
that is not what we see a lot. We don't see a lot of service members coming back and giving back to their community, right? They want to, but they don't get the opportunity to. So it's really nice to see that you came back with that passion, with that understanding to give back not only to your community, but probably even to your fellow service members, right?
Oh, for sure, 100%. As a matter of fact, about 60, I think our last count was 63% of our business is with veterans and/or active duty personnel.
And that is amazing, because most people don't realize how much struggles the service members have when they come back as a civilian, right?
Yeah,
My
there's
son, mhm.
there are some challenges, and so
There is
we help them
challenges.
overcome.
Exactly, exactly. My son is a retired U.S. Navy, so it has been interesting for him to transition back to that, civilian life. So I know how that is. So we're so grateful that you're here and you're one of our wonderful guest speakers in this guest speaker series. But let's kick it off. Let's kick it off with some great questions that we have, that we want to hear more about. What we're going to be talking about today, which is NAHREP 10 disciplines, right?
Yeah.
NAHREP, if you guys didn't know what that means. But he's going to talk a little bit about that. And I want you to start off with this question: what strategies are most effective for generating high quality leads in the market?
Well, there's two pieces there that are very important. One, it really does depend on what kind of business you want to have, and that's the beauty of this, is you get to decide what kind of business you want to develop. And the reason I say that is because once you get into the real estate business, there's a lot of ways to generate leads. Some folks really thrive in door knocking. Some really embrace the open houses and generate their leads that way. Some folks, they'll buy a list of 5,000 names and phone numbers and use a tool to be able to go through those. What's been most effective for me and the way I enjoy conducting business and generating and growing the business is a race to the relationship, not a race to the transaction, but a race to the relationship. I talked about having the veterans that
Mm-hmm.
are part our business model, part of our business ecosphere, and you know I connect with every branch. I'm part of my team are veterans. I have another Marine vet. I have another Navy vet that's on the team. And it's kind of funny because I always tell folks we end up being walking VFWs.
That's
And so
amazing.
yeah, so we really work towards racing to the relationship versus racing to the transaction. And because of that, that repeat and referral business makes its way around. People, we build that trust. We're not in here for just one transaction. We really are wanting to be the go-to for a number of things. I still have folks asking me, what do I do about my well water, or what do I do
Hmm.
about my antenna that's on this roof. When I bought it from you 3 years ago, I was like, well, let's get you somebody
Let's
over
get you
there.
upgraded.
Yeah,
Let's get you upgraded to
yeah,
something better.
absolutely,
Something better.
absolutely.
But you know what? It's really good because building a relationship with the community, right? And especially with the community that you came from too, right? Because
Hmm.
every everyone has a community, right?
Correct.
And we have our Latinx, Latina, Hispanic, however we want to call it community, but then we have like you have your service member community,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So everybody has a community that builds from that. And it's really interesting to see how you've embraced that, right? You've
yeah.
embraced that not only just for that, but also how it builds up to everyone to see, that service members don't are just like anybody else. Just because they
Correct.
served our country doesn't mean they have it easy or anything like that, right? So I think
Correct.
that's really, really crucial to understand that, like you said, you have veterans working for you, active military, you're working with all these different ones, but it's really important to have that. And I think that's really important for people to know that I believe that's a kind of like your niche too, because
Yeah,
you're
100%.
helping build, like you said, those leaders, right? Those leaders in your community and building a relationship, right? That's
Yeah.
key to any business,
And that's
like
really
uh
that's really the catalyst of everything. When somebody calls my phone, calls my phone number, oh, such and such referred me, or I saw your page on Facebook, you're everywhere, things like that. Um, I never, and they say, I want to buy a house, I'm ready to buy a house, or I'm ready to sell my house. I never ask within that first initial conversation. It's never, well, how many square feet are you looking for? Or how many bedrooms are you looking for? How many garage? Or,
Mhm.
it always is, so what's going on in life? What's going on in life that you want to buy, you want to sell, that's got you in this space? Because the process is the same. If you're going to buy a house, the process is the same for about 98% of people in the world.
Mhm.
But the why, the understanding the motivation, the understanding what's important, those are the things that that's where we start. What's important to you is where we start. It's a little tagline that I use. I really believe it.
Hey, it's awesome. It's awesome that you have that because you want to have that ties you to what you do, right? It ties
Yeah,
you what to do and why you do it. And one thing that I saw that's, that because we're talking about this, right? So I'm going to
yeah.
throw this question out there because it kind of like brings in what we're discussing, and it's what role does networking and community involvement play in the lead generation?
Oh, yeah. For our business, the way we conduct business, it's vital. Um, I love being a connector. every time that you and I had a conversation within a crowd, I'd see somebody and say, "Hey, you have to meet Dr. Daisy," or vice versa, and
Mhm.
say, "Hey, Dr. Daisy, you need to meet this person because they are in this space or they're in that world." I love being a connector, love being able to bring value to the conversation in a space because I talk a lot about veterans, and we kind of touched on it a little bit about the Latino community.
Mhm.
um, those are my two favorite communities, right? I'm naturally biased when it comes to that.
Hey, you're just being transparent. It's all good.
Absolutely. And so you can see, well, if we were to go to LinkedIn, if we were to go to my LinkedIn page,
Mhm.
one of my goals with LinkedIn is to connect to every uh, uh, military person within the Twin Cities, the
Mhm.
greater Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then
Mhm.
connect with every Latino professional within the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Like
That's awesome.
that's the purpose of my connections. I want to connect them. So ultimately, at the crossroads, it's the Latino soldier or the, the Latino
Mhm.
Marine, or even better, the
Exactly.
Latino sailor, right?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
in finding that, and that means a lot of conversations because the relationship, there's been a lot of stuff going on in the real estate world right now, and it all comes down to transparency, it all comes down to communication, and it all comes down to the relationship.
Exactly. And I like what you said because we've connected for a couple of years now. We've been
Mm-hmm,
in many circles, similar circles, from
mm-hmm,
different organizations that we do networking with. And that's something that I always keep in mind. Like everybody that I connect with, I although I don't speak to them on a daily basis or weekly
mm-hmm.
basis, but because I made that networking connection when I go out in the field and start working and building relationships, it always comes back to me to say, okay, this is a referral for this person.
Yeah,
This is a referral for this person, right?
yeah,
So I'm the type of person that, although I'm networking and I'm speaking to somebody, behind my mind, I'm always thinking about who can I connect to this person, like you
correct,
said,
correct. What
because
value can we
yeah,
bring?
what value, and I'm building the relationship with that person, but I'm also saying, okay, I have certain strengths, but I
Mm-hmm.
know these other individuals have these strengths,
Yeah,
when it comes to what you do, right? I'm not in the real
yeah,
estate. I'm doing the mortgage side. I don't do the real estate. I do the mortgage, I do the accounting, the finance stuff, you
yeah.
know. They need my stuff to get the house, right? Or get the commercial lending, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
commercial real estate or however it is. And many times it's understanding how to make that connection. I've been networking for over 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been kind of like a I don't know, it's like a little, I kind of like a little light bulb that comes out in my brain when I'm networking wherever I'm at,
Yeah.
and I'm like, when I speak to the people or organizations or someone that's looking for, like, let's say real estate, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
I'm automatically saying, hmm. Then I ask specific questions based
Yeah.
on everybody's, um, different type of style, like
Well, and that's the thing is being, and it can't be just uh, um, how does I'm a big fan of Zig Ziglar. He calls it, don't be a wandering generality, right?
yes,
Be
yes,
purposeful.
yes, yes.
Be
And
purposeful
I have a
because
question for you really quick. Do you
yeah,
like to be
yeah.
called realtor or real estate agent?
It's kind of like being called Latino or Hispanic.
Yes.
It goes back and forth. I'll answer to both.
Okay,
Isaac or
because
Isaac.
because a lot of times people are like, I'm a realtor,
Uh
not a real
huh.
estate agent. So I was like, let me ask Isaac this question to see if it's,
Yeah.
um, but I love the name, I
Yeah,
love the
no, it's
name.
I mean it's a designation, it's a set of it's code that we live by, that we've committed to, which makes us realtors. However, I mean, if your space is as a teacher at a high school,
Hmm.
what is what does that matter at the beginning? It's not until you find out later what that person is like that really matters. That what is that validation and the professionalism that comes into play. And um, I don't know that I've ever lost a relationship or a client because I identified myself as one or the other. So
Yeah.
um,
It
for
it
me,
shouldn't
it's
matter.
sure it's important within the, yeah, exactly, within the association. It's important.
Yeah.
However, it's not something that I throw out there as, hey, if you don't call me this, then we can't do business.
Exactly. It's all like, I think, like behind the scenes type of deal
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
For those type of things. I just know the financing side. I was never the
Exactly.
one that wanted to do the selling the real estate side. So I'm like, yeah, I don't even
Yeah.
know what we call each other anymore.
It's a great
Um
question. I've never been asked that question before. It's a good. I've never asked it. So
I
there you
mean,
go.
I've
That's a
I've been
fresh
around the real
answer.
estate world for over 20 years, and I was a mortgage broker for
Uh
13, and
huh.
I'm planning on being that again in the next, hopefully before the end of the year. Just taking that test is a little struggle there.
Yeah.
I'm not young anymore. Everything doesn't stay in the
Sleep with the
brain as it used
material
to.
under your bed. Sleep
Yeah,
with it.
right. Magically make it happen,
I
right?
have not failed. I've not failed an exam since 11th grade trigonometry, and there was some exams I should not have. It was questionable as to how I passed it in the first place.
Hey, I never failed one, but this one has been challenging. And I did fail my first mortgage broker license one, but there's certain tests that I have to take. It's the state, depending on the
Yep.
state you live
Oh
in,
yeah.
is the situation. But let's get back to what we're here for, okay?
Yeah.
Because you got these awesome 10 disciplines, and I
Yes.
want you to like give us some more feedback on how can I leverage social media and digital marketing to improve my lead generation efforts, and how does it tie to the 10 disciplines?
So when it comes to the social media piece, there, one of the things that I'm a big fan of Gary V. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yes.
Gary V,
Yes.
Gary Vaynerchuk, and there's a couple of books that he's put out there: Jab, 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 Right Hook, Crushing It, things like that. And the Thank You Economy. When I first listened to the Thank You Economy, because I had been listening to it for a while, um, and I actually went through the entire book, that had such an impact on my understanding of where the phone has its place in the world, in business, in my business.
Mhm.
Um, the reality is that the farthest, for most people, right? For most people, the farthest our phone is, the only time our phone is ever outside of our arm's length reach is in the shower, and even then,
And even then, you can still talk to Alexa and she'll turn it on for you or something.
exactly, exactly. And so understanding that and making it, there's a couple things, examples he always puts out. One being that the only time we ever even watch a commercial anymore is if our phone fell on the ground, because it was sitting on the armchair, chair of the arm of the chair, right? Like that's the only time. And if you're driving down the highway, four out of people, 3 out of 4 people are on their phones in the car, and sometimes it's 4 out of 4, right?
I'm
That's just,
guilty.
yeah, exactly, right.
I'm
And that's
guilty of that.
that's where we're at these days. That's where the attention is at. And so understanding that and putting it to a cost,
Mhm.
what does it cost for somebody like me in real estate who traditionally would have a billboard or a bus stop sign? What does
Mhm.
that cost just so I can stay in mind share,
Mhm.
top of mind, versus what I can do on a Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or Thread or X for free?
Yeah, and make
What's
it make it profitable, right? Because
correct?
a lot of times you have to find the right platform, I'm assuming,
Correct.
right? Find
Correct.
the right platform that's going to help you generate what you need
Yeah.
versus spending that ton of money, like you said, for a billboard or for that bus stop,
Yeah. And
you know?
even then, the right platform is user dependent. And what I mean by that is I always, I get asked that question, which one should I use? Which one should I use? It's
Mhm.
like, well,
Mhm.
the right platform is kind of like a diet. The right diet is the one you stick to. So when it comes to the platform, if you spend your time and Facebook is easy for you and it comes naturally, spend your time there. There's
Mhm.
hundreds of millions of people that use it. And if TikTok comes naturally or Snap comes naturally, then that's the one that you use. You use that, you get better, and then you can expand to the other ones. But if you're just starting, jump onto the one that's most comfortable for you and just use it.
And I agree with that because that's how I became to start my business. And usually LinkedIn is a better one, depending on the business too. For me, I
Yeah.
right? LinkedIn is more for me is more professional. Other people may
Mhm.
think differently, but for me LinkedIn is more for that professional type of level. If you're like in a direct sales type of
Yeah.
deal, Facebook might be good, but it all depends too because you are your brand too, right?
100%.
You are your
100%.
brand too. So that comes into one thing that I'm going to lead to this next question, which
Yeah.
is what are the best practices for converting leads into clients from these different social media platforms that you're talking about?
Yeah, speed to lead is the answer to that. We're moving so fast, scrolling by everything. If you're able to connect with that person immediately, um, that's where you're going to get a chance to win the business. The follow up is where you have your success rate, the validation of that I'm working with the right person.
Mhm.
The sooner that I can get on the phone with somebody, the better. But also understanding that people don't have a problem conducting business via text. You know, I
Nope.
there's been a couple of instances where I've sold houses from beginning to end and have never physically met that person. It's all been via text and virtual showings,
Mhm.
and that's just how we did it. Now there was obviously there was some emails and some when it came time to sign, there
Mhm.
was the title company, verified identification, things like that. But the reality is that you have the ability to conduct business 100% virtually, and it's there. Like
Mhm.
if you have to recognize, and it goes back to the idea of understanding what it is that the client wants, understanding what it is that feels right for them. And so I have to be able to be flexible and adaptable to that, to what it is that folks want. It's not about what house I want to sell them, it's about what house they want to buy. I just have to be
Exactly.
ready and prepared for that. And it kind of flows into that the social media piece,
Mhm.
understanding that's where people want to be. I read a statistic the other day, and it was the National Association of Realtors put out there that in their surveys of home sellers and home buyers, that upwards of 85% of the home seller, home buyer want to do business with somebody who has video.
Mhm.
And where do you put the video? You put it out on
And a
social media.
computer on
Yeah.
social
And it's
media.
not yeah, and it's not that they're watching everything you put out there.
They're just
It's
seeing
it's knowing that it's there.
how your character is, what it
Yeah,
like how you interact on that space, right? And this
correct.
is one of those platforms, right? This is a great opportunity to show people, and this is really wonderful. Those that are watching us, like and share, follow Isaac,
Hmm.
because he's going to be showing you so much more. I mean, this is one of those things that a lot of people don't realize is that we digital and technology is not going anywhere. It's part of
No.
our life
Yep.
now. It's
Yep.
part of how we do business. And a lot of times our generation is switching, right? the older generations going off. Those are the ones, like selling off their homes or retiring, moving to other states, and then now you got the newer generation coming in. The newer generation does not care about a phone call. They want
No,
text. They
they
want
don't know. And a
email.
lot of them don't even know how to talk to a person on the phone.
Exactly,
And it's
exactly.
not that that's wrong. That's just the evolution of it. Like
It
that's
it
just the movement.
exactly. Exactly. And it's for any business. I'm telling you, it's for any business. Most people just want to text something, they want to arrange something. And so, you have to embrace the different technology that's
Correct.
out there that is going to let you bring that new generation.
Mhm.
I don't even know what the new generation is. It went from like baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z,
Z, and now it's Gen
and then
A.
it's, I think it's Gen A, something. Yeah, right. You see,
It is.
so it's
It's
like
Gen A.
now it's another generation,
Yeah.
and those generation, like even within my business and other businesses that I have, most of them just want to chat. Like they'll use Messenger from Facebook, they'll use like the Messenger from LinkedIn or whatever it is. They just want to chat. They
Yeah.
don't want they'll, like you said, they want to have the video. They'll do a video, but it's very brief and it's more of the digital side. But they like to see the videos too. They like to see that you
Yeah.
are being involved, you're being consistent, you're
And
being,
if that's what the client wants, right? If that's
mhm,
what the client wants, and if that's what you want, if you want to scale, if you want to have the success, because that also, and so we haven't, I'm going to tie it into the NAHREP disciplines,
yes,
right?
yes,
So,
yes, we need that.
right? So what Dr. Daisy's been talking about is this set of 10 principles that were developed out of a project. It's called the Hispanic Wealth Project. And in 2014, the Hispanic Wealth Project was created so that way, and its mission. Its mission was to financially and educationally empower the Hispanic community in America. And it came out of the Great Recession because after the housing bubble, so much of the wealth that the Latino community had at that point created was decimated by the housing bubble, by the Great
Mhm,
Recession. And so some thought leaders, specifically with Gary Acosta, they created the Hispanic Wealth Project. Jerry Asensio was in part of that. Just some Sol Trujillo, a lot of great minds in the Latino
mhm,
community, Latino business world, uh, came together and they created the Hispanic Wealth Project. And from that, there was a set of 10 principles that they developed. And one of them was having a mature understanding of wealth and prosperity, because the one with the most toys usually loses, right?
mhm.
Number two was to be in the top 10 of your 10% of your profession, because being good is not good enough. And that's where I want to tie in the social media piece, the video, the understanding what your client is looking for, because in order for you to be in the top 10% of your profession,
Mhm.
because being good isn't good enough, you have to understand these things and you have to put them into practice. It's not knowledge just to learn, it's knowledge so that you can act, right? And so if it's just one platform that you understand in order to be able to communicate with your clients, then understand that one platform and be good at that. Be one of the top 10%. And
And I
that's
like
one of
the
those
third I like
principles.
the third discipline from this
Yes.
one, because live below your means and be ready for the next recession. I
Yeah.
think that one is really, it really need people really need to understand, don't try to live like the Joneses, right? Have you ever heard of that?
Oh
Don't
yeah.
live like live like the
Yeah.
Joneses, because many people want, but if something happens in our economy, which like recently, I don't know if you
Happening
heard about
now.
the port strike or whatever, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know how long that was going to last, and that was already causing mayhem.
Correct. Correct. I always teased that, we don't know how to act. We go get our toilet paper and then run it out. Like
Like
we don't know how to act. And
what does
so
toilet paper got to
yeah.
do with
So
the
yeah.
strike,
And these
Oh
10
my.
disciplines, you can for your audience, if you don't link it up,
Uh-huh.
you can Google NAHREP, NAHREP, 10 disciplines. And NAHREP, it's an acronym for National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals.
We'll throw that
You
in
can
here for them.
also, yeah, you can also go to HispanicWealthProject.org and learn about it as well. So, and I will tell you this, and this I'll offer it up, is anybody who reaches out, don't hesitate to ask, what are the other ones? Let me know. I love sharing this information. I love sharing these 10 principles. And
Let's
it's
talk
not
about the
about,
final one when you get a chance. I want to talk about the
oh,
10th one.
yes. And okay, so perfect. Number 10 is be active in the lives of your familia and your children, because familia is central to who we are. And one of my, don't be, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but understand that it's number 10, but not because it's the most important or the least important of
Please.
the 10.
Hmm.
It's the most important. And so the other 9 principles are stacked on top of this central key, this central discipline of being active in the lives of your familia, because that's what's central to who we are. And that's very and that can be across all demographics, but that's very much a Latino
Very, very, it's a very much Latino thing because, growing up in the U.S., if you're, if you're not, if you've not, you're not from here, you didn't grow up here, like you grew up here, you grew up in St. Paul, right? So
thing.
you grew up
Yeah,
here. You're kind of like me. You grew up here, learned Spanish, raised like that, but we still go back to our roots, right? To say,
100%.
hey, like, what did our grandparents do? Right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
my grandmother was like, what's a bank account? What's a credit card? You know what I mean? Back in her day. And, a lot of times it's kind of like taking that old school mentality from back in the day, how they
Mhm,
ran their finances and stuff,
mhm,
trying to leave a legacy to their
mhm.
children and things like that. So I think that's really cool. And like Isaac said, these disciplines are so amazing. There's 10 disciplines in there. They're really, really great. I mean, the one like he just said, we were talking about live below your means and be ready for the next recession. That one is really amazing because a lot of people don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Things happen all the time, and it's not like, it happens all the time. So I have one final question before we're done with our wonderful series here today with you speaking. And I want to say, how can people build and maintain their strong relationships with their clients? You talked about building a relationship. You're talking about the community. Like, you're a little biased there with your community, your Hispanics, whatever. But, you know, even though that is something that you're passionate about, it's really important not only to build it, but maintain those relationships
Correct.
because you can't just be there and not build that relationship and just adios, you know what I mean? Like, see you
Yeah.
later, like that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I know probably all these people that you have helped either get a home or sell a business or whatever have continued to be either a friend,
Mhm.
someone you still speak to, like you say, get referrals. How do people maintain that? And we'll end
I
with
feed
that.
them. So so every year we have a cookout, right? I have a grill out.
Oh,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I grill out carne asada, al pastor, some pollo
oh
asada,
my, where
and
have I
grill
been?
it up. Yeah, you're on the inside, right? So you
Okay.
get that invite, right? But no, it's finding something that is you give of yours. I enjoy cooking in volume. I
Hmm.
love it. I don't know how to cook for 2 people. I don't know how to cook for 3 people. So it's either 30 or more, right?
Oh wow.
And
You
so
need my big old pot.
yeah, exactly. And so I enjoy it. And so the way we tie that in is, like I said, it's about building that relationship. And so just this past May, we had a cookout, grilled the street tacos, um, set it up. People come eat and things like that. But we added an element to it of giving back to the community. And so we did what's called a clothes swap. and people could go through and clothes that they would normally leave in, I'm going to take it to Goodwill
Yes.
or the Salvation Army and it's in a bag in your trunk for 2 months. No, come clear out your closet, bring those clothes that you're not going to use anymore. You bring them, and everybody does this. We set them all out on a table. It was really fun, and you swap. And if you like something that's there, take it with you. If you don't, then leave it, whatever it is. And you don't have to bring anything. You don't have to leave anything. Leave anything. It's just a clothes swap. And then the
Yep.
clothes that were left over, we donated to a couple of organizations. One of them was the Disabled Veterans of Minnesota, and then also so that they could turn around and use those funds
I
for their
love that
efforts. But then there was
organization.
another one that we did, and the name of it's escaping me right now. But what this organization does is it helps women who are looking to who need clothes for the job or the
Mm,
job interview,
that's
and
awesome.
so professional looking clothes, office looking clothes,
Yeah.
so that way they can feel confident about their interview and feel confident about their presence in the work in office space, right?
Yeah.
In some of these corporate environments, and so we had clothes for that. But we kind of pair it up and let's let's eat,
That's
let's hang
amazing.
out, let's break some bread. It doesn't have to
That's
be anything about
wonderful that you
business.
do that because
Yeah.
you have struggling military families, right?
Hmm.
Like you said, or even just
Yeah.
families struggling, maybe to get their clothes for their kids. I'm assuming you got kids clothes too, not just adult
Oh yeah,
clothes,
it's everything, and it goes.
everything.
I don't. I don't. So we have some of the folks that are in that space take care of it. Like
Oh,
we
okay.
invite
That
them.
they handle all the
Yeah, they
logistics
handle
to
all
it.
that stuff like that. Yeah,
Which is really
right.
nice.
I know where I'm strong, and I know where I need leverage.
And the one thing
So
great about what I heard from you, and now I know who to contact too,
yeah,
if someone is looking, is clothes. The clothes
yeah,
for women for because it's really hard to buy things, especially if they lost a job, they don't have
yeah,
income, or
yeah.
they're just finishing
There's an
college
organization
or
out there
or
that
stuff
does
like
that.
that that
Yeah,
helps them get their, you know, attire to go to an interview, even just to go to an
correct,
interview, right? They need
correct.
something wonderful, you know? So
And
that's
there's no
really, really
obligation.
amazing.
It's more about just let's get together, let's break some bread, let's get to know each other. It's not just about how many showings or what your interest rate was. We don't even talk business.
Yes, it's
It's we
not
just
business
hang out and
related.
get to know each other, and so that's one of the ways that I maintain strong relationships. Right, and I call my clients. I try to text them, call them, even past clients at least 4 times a year. They get emails to let them know how
Christmas
they're doing, and
cards.
yeah, things like birthday,
Yeah,
birthday
just things so
announcements.
they know to remember you by, right? I think it's really
Correct,
important to make that connection, but also you're showing yourself, like not just
correct.
as the business person, but as a person, right? That you
Yeah,
are a person that has a family, that has, that is out there, that's been through it, and you're out there showing the community that self of you. It's not always business, right?
correct.
And I think that's really important. And I think that's a good note. So I want you to leave us with one good either quote or word that you hone in on that
Yeah.
people can take from you.
So in the business world, it's tough. Being an entrepreneur, running a company, whatever. It's all tough. And so one of the things that I always say is that in 6 months, you'll have 6 months of excuses or 6 months of progress. You get to choose.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Isaac, for being here. We are so excited. Thank you, Isaac. And if you want to reach out to Isaac, please make sure you contact him. His information is in the comments. And you can also reach out to Valentin Consulting, and we will share that information with you as well. The link to the NAHREP 10 disciplines is also on the comments. Please make sure and check it out. These are amazing, amazing information that you need to know if you are like Latino, please make sure that you reach out. Isaac also speaks Spanish, right? He
Yes,
also
yes, I
speaks
do.
Spanish, so you don't have to worry about a translator if you need him as your real estate or realtor. Like he said, he doesn't care what you call him as long as you don't call him anything else but that, right? So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
And thank you everybody for watching, those who are watching and those who are planning on watching it. Please like and subscribe so you can continue to listen to our guest speakers in our guest speaker series. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Adios.